They never have done the thing.
Yeah.
They literally haven't.
It's
mind-boggling to me. It's like, oh, I don't want to learn anything, even though you've never done the thing. I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you? Welcome to the Push Limits Show. I'm Shania.
I'm Ivy.
We are kind of transitioning, so you may know that we used to have a podcast. It was a More Growth podcast. And I think when we were doing that podcast, it was a lot of like self-discovery. We weren't really sure. We've gone through a lot of transitions where we're figuring out exactly what we want to talk about and the things we want to do. So the reason why we have Push Limits is because we are starting a supplements company called Push Supplements, but it's more than a supplement company. It's creating a community around that, all about pushing limits. So today we're setting the ground rules or the traits or the characteristics that we think that the Push Limits community has, or things that we want to embody as we are improving on this life journey. The whole point of this show is talking about adversity, and the reason why that's important to me is just seems like a lot of people in the world are really depressed lately. Anxiety, technology has advanced really fast. People are broke, they can't afford groceries, rent's hard to pay, and I think people are just stuck on this hamster wheel. But I believe that everyone has the ability to push past that. You know, all these, they're not necessarily self-imposed limits because it's the limits that, you know, the government's kind of put in place, or it's just the way the system is.
The way you were raised, different things. Yeah.
So it's been a journey for me. You know, I was a drug addict, and then I got clean. You and I met, and then it's just been a whole journey. And that's going to be a different thing we talk about, is just how we are, because we've lived together, worked together, running businesses together, trained together.
Do everything together.
Everything. Yeah. Do this podcast together, even though she didn't want to.
Nope. But here I am. Because I love you.
Yeah. So this show will be a little less of like talking to the camera. This one will be, since we're kind of setting the stage for the whole show, and just the traits that we want to embody, and we want other people to embody, especially if you're advantageous about leveling up in life. But plan on bringing on guests and just hearing their stories and the adversity they've gone through and how they've been able to level up. So we're just going to kind of go through the list of these traits that are really important to us. We hope they're important to you. And if you can learn to embody these, I believe that anybody can advance in life regardless of the situation that you have been in. So yeah. So number one is obvious, it's push limits. And so what does push limits mean? And to me, that is becoming self-aware, and you identify those self-imposed limits that you have placed on yourself, and then pushing past those to get to the next level.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know that I would think anything different. Like, that pretty much is it for me too. You know, just, I think sometimes I hear that voice in my head that's like, oh, you know, you can stop now, or you don't really know what you're doing. And so just like pushing past that and overcoming myself.
Like when I do push-ups today, like I was doing push-ups today, and you get to like the 9th or 10th rep, and you're like, ooh, but you're pushing it. But it's the same thing, but like in everyday life. People like to talk about imposter syndrome. You were just talking about this. I'm an imposter. It's like, no, you're just not experienced enough. Like, you just got to do more of it. I actually stole that from Layla Hormozy too, because it was just Alex's birthday, and she was posting about the things that she's learned from him. And that was one of them. You're not bad at it. You just need to do more reps. And so that's all pushing limits is about. And it's other people's imposed limits on us too. You know, people say you can't start a business, or you can't run a marathon, or just whatever things people say you cannot do. I've been lucky. I've never had that. I've never had anyone putting limits on me. Anytime I tell my mom and dad that I'm going to do something, like I'm going to, you know, scale the business to be $1 million business in 1 year, my mom goes, you can do it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Very supportive.
Yeah.
I feel the same way with my family.
Yeah.
Like, I've never had anyone say, you can't do this, but I definitely feel like there have been roadblocks. It's always ourselves, you know?
Well, actually, right now, for me, I've literally been trying to get the pistol squat for 5 months. Since the beginning of the year, I've been intentionally trying to train the pistol squat, and I cannot do it. I just can't do it. It's really hard. But that's something physically that I am, working toward, and I know I'll be able to get there. I've gone through enough things in my life to this point. I know if I just keep going, that it's going to get there eventually. But it's also with the mental roadblocks that come along with just literally every point in life. You're going to be like, oh shoot, like this is hard. And then just noticing that and being able to go through it. So it's like your impose mental roadblocks as well as the physical roadblocks.
Yep.
So yeah,
Absolutely.
this is the Push Limits show. We're all about pushing limits. And the next one is more of a Stoic philosophy. I read a lot of Stoicism. It's very interesting to me, and I like to use that in my life. But pursuing excellence. And what this means is excellence in the things that you can control. So it's your thoughts, choices, and actions. And I think, with your words goes with, either goes with the thoughts or the actions because it's something that you're physically doing.
Yeah.
But those are the only things you can control. And so you cannot control any outside events or someone else did something to you. You can't control that. But what you can control is the way you think and the way you react to things. Mm-hmm. So that's the number one thing, is noticing how you react. Like, I've been such a sour, grouchy person. I still am a really grouchy person, but I used to be pretty judgmental.
You used to be, yeah.
It was pretty bad. I was just hating everyone. I still do hate most people. But it's not like I hate them for who they are. It's changed and evolved to where I have expectations for myself and other people, and when they don't meet them, it gets frustrating.
Yeah.
But having control of your thoughts, like if someone cuts you off in traffic and you blow up about it and it ruins your whole day. So that's an area you can start to take control of with your words. That affects like the things that you say become the things that you do. What's the saying? The thoughts become words, become actions.
I'm not...
Something like that.
Something like that. I don't know.
But yeah, think about it that way. So you can control your thoughts, the way you react to things. You can control the words and the things you say, and your actions, the things that you do.
Yeah, I really like your point on, the reactivity, because I think it's such a human thing. Like, things happen to us, and it's that next second of like, what are you doing? And normally we do it without thought, and because it's a reaction. So I really like, this rule and this concept, because it forces you to think before you do as much as you can,
It's really hard. My mom always used to tell me to think before I speak, because I don't, and I still don't. I just go. Yeah. I just say the thing, and I shouldn't do that. But a book that's really been helpful to me is Robert Greene's Laws of Human Nature, and he says, we're all irrational beings. Some are just become more rational as in become more self-aware, but we are all irrational narcissists. At the core, people are.
Gotta love it.
Especially children. He actually says that children are like the embodiment of like conniving, I don't think he says evil, but like pure narcissism in children.
Yeah.
Because they can't communicate the way that we communicate. And the only way they can get what they want is by like crying for attention and all that. So children are the extreme version of narcissists.
Gotta love it.
Yes. So I'll move on to the next point, which is earning through merit. And this is all about, basically, the foundation is believing in hard work and no handouts. Anti-entitlement.
Yeah. I don't know what to add.
I feel a little weird sometimes when I talk about it, because I feel like it's like going to offend people and they're going to be all up in arms when I talk about anti-entitlement. And it's hard to think of a really good example for that.
I think okay, here's an example. It would be like, and this is maybe there's a line in this too, but you've worked for a company for a really long time, and you believe like after 2, 3, 4 years of tenure, you should be getting a promotion of some sort. And maybe there's a little bit of entitlement in there, and people, and I've seen this before too, people expect to be promoted or expect a raise or a bonus or something like that just because of a timeline. And I feel like that's a form of entitlement. Like, until you can take account for everything you've done to make changes in this business or whatever the situation is, and then you take that to your leader, and then you show them like, hey, I've earned this because of my track record, and here it is, kind of thing, versus just sitting there wham because you didn't get your 2 to 5% raise or whatever.
It's not worth it. Start a business.
Yeah, so you can be even more broke.
Yeah, I think that too is like, just because you've been doing something for a long time doesn't mean that you're putting your best effort into it, which I think is actually in a couple points we'll make that one. But versus someone else who comes in and they're like putting in 1,000%, but just because you've been doing it for a long time doesn't mean that you've been going the max and that you maybe deserve something. But if you are passionate about it, you've been putting a lot of effort in, I do think that in some way that the time thing does make sense, but only if they've proven themselves to be a leader and someone worthy of getting a raise.
Right. Like
this is just an example.
Yeah, time isn't the only contributing factor kind of thing. And something else I wanted to add to that too is like maybe if you feel like you've earned something or you feel like you deserve something but you don't have it yet, then that's a moment where you can actually look at, okay, what have I really done? And then do some self-reflecting, and you might discover, oh, you know what? Maybe I did not earn this and I need to do a bit more.
Yeah, I think about that too. So we invest in apartments, right? I would never, and a way that people can get into an apartment investment really fast is if they have a lot of money. If they had $1 million that they can contribute to a deal and they like basically buy their way into a GP role, which you can't do, it's illegal. But why would you want to buy your way into a GP role and then just, that's all you are, is you're not getting the experience. I want to be someone, I would rather come in for nothing, get no money, but do all the work that no one else wants to do so you can learn by doing.
Yeah.
So I've actually seen that quite a bit. People will get into a deal, but they are not on the operational side of thing and they're not learning anything, but they paid their way in. They're going to get an amazing, crazy return. They make a ton of money, but you're not learning anything and you're never going to be able to go out and do it on your own. And so if you have the ability to buy your way into something, maybe don't. Try doing the work first. Do the work.
Yeah. Another example too I was just thinking of was, we look at ourselves and how long we've been working out consistently. And sometimes I'll be like, okay, I'm at this point, I feel like I've earned abs or I've earned like the perfect body. And then I'm like, what the hell's going on? And then I actually have to look back and be like, okay, well, cookies last night, pizza a couple times last week. Like, okay, maybe I haven't really earned this.
That's funny. We'll move on to the next one. So the next point is the fourth point. So we've gone over push limits, pursue excellence, earn through merit, and it's one for all. And this is something that I've been developing over time because I've just naturally been a really selfish person. I always care about myself first, usually. I think I've actually developed that because I didn't used to do that. I was all in for other people. And then really bad things happened. And then I was like, all me, I'm number one, which is fine. I think everyone should put themselves first.
Yeah.
But when you get to a point in life and you've had some success and now you can do 1,000 push-ups like me, you should inspire other people to do 1,000 push-ups or inspire other people to pursue excellence and to lift up the community. Because if you're lifting up other people around you, and some of that was sarcastic, by the way. I didn't laugh or anything, so it didn't seem sarcastic.
Don't worry, I rolled my eyes when you said the 1,000 push-ups, so I think they got it.
I'm like Saitama.
Yeah.
One Punch Man. When you get to a point, or even when you're on a journey, when you're on this journey of self-improvement, it's really important, I think, to share it and involve other people because it's going to better the world.
Yeah, answer questions. I think that's a big thing. We get questions all the time of like, how do we do things? How do we get where we are? Different things like that. And just being able to help people who are looking for it. I mean, even reaching out, maybe don't do that, but just let people reach out to you and then help them out. But like what Shania said, posting online and sharing your story and everything you're going through.
Yeah, it's like being real and authentic too. Like we're not perfect beings. Everyone has their flaws and issues, and that just creates more of a connection. So don't always just place yourself as the hero, but we all have things that we've gone through, and that alone, just showing that you've gone through something, even if you can't do 1,000 push-ups, who cares? But you've made it through something that was extremely challenging. And sharing that because other people are going through that or have gone through that too.
Okay, number 5, be the best. Okay, how does this work?
So this is another stoic thing. And it's not like I'm the best, I'm better than people, but it's be the best in everything that you do. So it's like how you do one thing is how you do all things. Every single thing that you do, even if you have to do it, you put all of your effort into it. And I actually think back to when we were training the marathon, and I don't feel like I put my all into it.
I don't feel like I did either.
And so part of me I have regret from that, but I do not want to do it again.
I've actually been thinking about it lately.
I kind of have been too, but I do not want to do it. Stop talking about it.
And why would we even think about doing it like
now?
If we were to do it, like when it's 90 degrees all week, shit like that.
Actually, it was a few weeks ago, a year ago, that we finished it.
Yeah.
And the day that we did it, we weren't even supposed to. It was supposed to be 22 miles, but I was having a horrible day. It was super humid. We just ran the marathon.
Well, it's like,
didn't have proper water, didn't have proper fuel. I couldn't swallow the turkey sticks.
Well, and the programming had us going...
It was a 6 week.
Right, okay,
we did it
so
in 5
on
weeks.
week 5.
0 from couch to marathon in 5 weeks.
Right, but so week 5, so a marathon is 26.2, right? I think that day we were supposed to run 22, and we were like, fuck it. If we're already running 22, you might as well do 26.
Well, yeah, but that was my worst day. Like, you know, we've been running for a long time, and like 10 miles was like really no big deal at that point. But just like in the first mile or two, I was just having a horrible run, and I didn't want to do it again. But I feel like I didn't put my all into it. I feel like at the end, like I had to stop and walk a lot. And you know what? I probably did put my all that I could at that point in, but I wish we would have maybe trained a little bit longer and got a better time. I mean, I think I had a 12-minute mile pace, which is good.
It's pretty good for such a long distance.
Yeah.
To be honest.
And how much walking I did. God, it was so hard.
Speed walking.
But anyways, be the best. So you're doing the best in everything that you can do. And I'm trying to get better about this, just even at home.
Yeah.
Cleaning more, because it's just, we are really busy, and we have 4 dogs that weigh on average about 95 pounds.
That's a good average.
That was a good guess. I bet if we did the math, it'd be pretty close.
Yeah. Do you want to?
No. And it gets dusty. We keep it pretty picked up, but it can get dusty and stuff in here, and we're going and working out. We're working all day. We're traveling a lot. And so just even keeping the house more clean and more picked up, you know, I want to do that, because having a clean environment is just better for your happiness, and overall you have better work quality, I think. You know, if you have to work on a project, you didn't want to work on this project, you know, just putting your all into it, even though it's not something you want to do. And then when you can walk away from it, no matter what, you know you did the best that you could do.
I like that. And being the best is more of an internal thing. It's not like being competitive with other people and being better than them. It's about how you can be the best in the things that you do.
Being your best, like in all things that you do. Yep.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Heck yeah. And so another one, which, you know, could be controversial, which, whatever. It's never the victim. In a sense of the things that you can control, but also in a sense of the things that you can't control. I read a book by Ryan Holiday, and it's The Obstacle is the Way. And it's all about using adversity to your advantage. How can you turn adversity into something that's going to push you to the next level? And part of that is like all these other things before, you know, in your mind, if you're trying to be the best that you can be, you're pushing the limits that you've imposed on yourself. So when adversity is coming, you're going to be able to tackle that a lot easier, because you're already embodying these other things. It's not like I'm Joe Schmo just going through life, and then something bad happens and it just ruins everything.
Right.
Like you're depressed, you're down, you can't do anything, you just let it consume you, you're at rock bottom, you can't get out of rock bottom. But if you start to embody all these traits and adversity comes your way, it's kind of like, yes, I'm happy about this because I'm going to get stronger on the other end. It's actually a story about, I can't remember who it was. Was it Thomas Jefferson? I don't know. His house caught on fire, the whole thing burnt down, and he was like, wow, this is the biggest fire I've ever seen in my life. Because what's the point? That's really hard, but truly, this is apparently what truly happened. He's lost everything in this house fire. There's nothing you can do about it.
Right.
You can choose how you react to things, and this is pursuing excellence, having control over your thoughts and your reactions, instead of being in complete depression about the house being gone. It's like, I'm going to choose to be happy about this.
Right. And then we're not perfect in, you know, and embodying all of these traits by any means, but whenever things happen to me or things just happen in general, I think, okay, number one, do I have any sort of control over this? Yes, no. Yes, if I do have control, then I'm going to be changing the outcome. No, I don't have any control of this, then I'm changing the way I react to this.
Exactly.
And that's me also changing the outcome. That's so important.
I do get a little unsure about it though, and this is a book I plan on reading, which is Extreme Ownership. It's Jocko Willink, right?
Oh, I didn't realize he wrote it.
I think it is. Yeah, it's a Jocko
I'm excited
book,
to read that one too, though.
which we drank his energy drink today for science.
And it was good.
It was good. Extreme Ownership. I think I saw him or someone was talking about the example, like, did you tell me this? Like if a plane crashed, like his wife is on a boat and like the boat sinks, but he's going to take ownership of it and it's his fault because he knew where his wife was. He could have watched the weather. He could have done something. And so that's a really extreme example of extreme ownership. But I think that way too, like with my mom and the cancer and the health things that she's going through. Mm-hmm. I take more extreme ownership with it because if I did have more money, I could pay for better treatment and better quality care. And like there's more things that we could do. And so it's like a weird balance for me. And I'm still trying to figure this one out exactly how I want to feel about it with the, what things can and cannot control. Because if you really think about it, there's a lot that we can control.
Right.
That just takes resources like
right.
money.
And like creativity and, and maybe if...
Or connections.
Yeah, and maybe instead of, something happens to you and we're just so stressed out about, oh my God, this is ruining my life. Everything is different. Nothing will ever be the same again. And that's what you dwell on. You're completely missing out on decision making that could completely change what's happening and changing the outcome and being creative and reaching out to those connections.
Yeah. So that's never the victim, is really using adversity. We're not going to have the victim mindset, and that goes into other things too. I can't do this because of that. I can't, all this, I can't, from outside things, but there's always something you could do.
Mm-hmm. I hope someone comments and challenges it with something.
Look, challenge me, because I'm currently challenging myself with it.
Yeah.
Because all of this stuff is things that we are currently working on. We're the adventurer trying to figure this stuff out and learn. Maybe we take one of them off someday, maybe we add some more. We're always fine tuning, and that's the whole point of life, is fine tuning. It's 1% better every day. It's not like all in 1,000%. It's just like these little things that you keep doing to get incrementally better. Boom.
Okay, number 7, right? Number 7? Mm-hmm. Destroy ego. How do you do this?
I'm pretty egotistical.
You don't
I do.
Say.
And this is something, I don't know why I have this like little mini superiority complex, because I ain't shit.
Is it a middle child thing? No.
I don't know. It might be. Is it a middle child thing? Hello, middle children. Do you have a superiority complex? So it's really just all about staying humble in the pursuits and knowing that we are not better than other people. And the whole point is one for all. We're lifting other people up, and we're never tearing other people down. Like, it doesn't matter who they are. The point is that we can learn something from all people. And destroying ego is also putting in yourself in the place as a student. You're always learning. Your glass is never full. It's always empty.
Right. Yeah, there's always someone out there that you can learn from. I love that. I think that's one of the best takeaways from this.
I've talked to people on the phone that want to buy into an education program, but they're like, I don't want to learn anything. I just want to be in the community.
Oh, I already know it all.
Yeah, they already know it all.
I'm already like top dog in my
Even though
industry.
they never have done the thing.
Yeah.
They literally haven't.
It's
mind-boggling to me. It's like, oh, I don't want to learn anything, even though you've never done the thing. I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you?
Yeah. Okay, so like this is kind of a weird like example, but when it comes to destroy the ego, I think about things like a specific example, kind of random, but you look at like a football player or like, these big strong guys that are like, oh yeah, I'm so strong, I can do all these things. And then you challenge them to like a body weight thing or yoga or a ballet class or something.
Yeah.
And then, their ego isn't so big that they won't do it. So then they do it and then they get brought back down a little bit because they like some people, and that's whatever. Some people think, oh, I'm just so much better than this already. I've progressed past this. And then they get their ass whooped doing something.
So like in Avatar: The Last Airbender, remember when Sokka went to go train with the sword master, but the sword master would not take on new people all the time. And like what Sokka did, he came in and he like threw his face on the ground. He's like, oh, I'm so humble. I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't even deserve to learn from you. And he took him as a student. Because all the other people that went to go try to learn from him were like, I'm the best swordsman. I deserve this. I've earned this. And so that's that. It's everything.
Yeah.
You didn't earn anything. But if you humble yourself and put yourself in the place as a student, then Swordmaster is going to teach you. Just like Sokka.
I love that you plugged an Avatar reference.
Everything. I can plug all this into anime. Literally, if you watch Dragon Ball and if you want to be like Goku, he and Vegeta, they are the embodiment of pushing limits. literally all they care about is themselves. Well, Vegeta has a lot of ego, obviously, and he wants to be better than everyone. But Goku, he only is in competition with himself. He's only going against himself, and he just wants to be stronger. And he wants to challenge other people and just push his limits and see how far he can go. And then he gets Super Saiyan God mode.
Should I have finished all of Dragon Ball?
I finally watched it. I really was not going to watch it, but I did. I finally did. And the last one that we have, number 8, is always be grateful. And this isn't even just about what we have. Yes, it's like everything that you have right now is 5 years ago, this is exactly what you wanted, hopefully. Not for everyone, unfortunately. There's some people that look back 5 years and they're in the exact same place. But it's everything that you've gone through. So all the adversity that you've gone through that have made you the person that you are, the family that supported you, or the family that you have, or the family that you had, the things that we have, like there's, you have running water, food, a roof, clothes. You've got it pretty good. What is it to you?
I kind of lost my train of thought for a second. Stormy distracted me.
Yeah,
but the always grateful thing too, I think that plugs in pretty well to the never the victim rule. I feel like those just complement each other because
they all complement each other pretty well.
Oh yeah, and like you said, you can look back on your past, and I've gone through a lot in my past. I've didn't have the best childhood growing up, and I could look back and be like, oh my God, fuck everyone that was around me growing up, my parents, their friends, like life ruined kind of thing. But I can actually look back and be like, because of what I went through and how I grew up, I am who I am today. And I have no shame in who I am. And I just think, there's always room for gratitude.
Yeah, for sure. I had to force it. I used to be just so focused on the future that I wasn't really grateful for things right now. And just with my mom's health issues and everything too, that's really forced me to be more grateful. But it was before that. Like I would sit down and part of my meditation practice, I would take a couple minutes and just think about all the things that I'm grateful for. And so you gotta force it sometimes, which is kind of, feels kind of weird to say that, but it's true. It's true for me.
Yeah. And just thinking about things too, like if you're in your place of work and just say just one day you're like, oh my God, I do not like my job.
Stormy's making groany noises. It's probably getting picked up by the camera.
You can be like, okay, I hate my job. I hate my manager, my boss, everything sucks. But then stop for a second and maybe you need to change something at some point. But you could also look at where you were working and you're like, okay, this is providing me with money to be able to do the things I want to do in my life and eventually move on and move up out of here, things like that.
Yeah. Well, cool. We are at 28 minutes. We're trying to keep these in 30 minutes or less. When we do interviews, I imagine they'll go a lot longer.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, just think about this. I'll put all these in the comments, so it's just something you can quick glance at, a quick reference. But these are just traits. These are things that we are working on. Nowhere near close to perfect, and I don't think it'll ever be perfect. But just keeping these in mind as we're going through life and just trying to become better people. So if you care about leveling up, these are the traits we think that you need to embody to get there. So if this was impactful for you, if you like it, you want to support the show, like, share, comment, send it to your friends. If you might want to be on the show, if you're someone who has a really cool story and you want to share it, reach out to me. That would be awesome.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks.